Are we live? Are we buffering like crazy? Okay. A little late today since sorry for dropping the link late. Hee. Oh man, it was a close Dodgers game we just had. Oh, God. This is live, by the way. I was just watching the Dodgers. That was getting
Dodgers.
close to the end there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Good
won.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Green.
Yes. How are you?
We won, so I'm good.
You're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Otani was,
Salvation.
pulling for us.
Oh, extra baseball, nulla solum. See, extra baseball, nullum solum, nullum solvum.
Okay, whatever you said, I agree with.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Okay, so
do you pay attention? I guess you probably still pay attention to events in the church, like we bless ice now.
Yeah, that was the greatest. Taylor Marshall had the best take I saw on that. Taylor Marshall has been fired lately. I don't understand the guy. He's like, oh, look, it's Mr. Freeze and the Pope. Like, wait, it is Mr. Freeze and the Pope is in Rome there. What? When does this happen? Why is this happening?
Who is Mr. Freeze?
Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Batman, the '90s Batmans with Jack.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I did see that. I have not watched many movies, so I am very, very culturally poor on many of those references. But yeah, I just found the whole thing so cringe because I guess one of the few movies I've seen, the one point of reference that I went to was Star Wars, and it's like, are you trying to levitate the ice cube?
No.
Or I'm thinking more that poor ice cube, because if the ice sheets are melting, you just contributed to making it worse. That poor. Should we call it an ice cube or just block ice? I don't know. Or name it.
Block ice.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you brought today. I brought quotes from the 1990 Lefebvre Edicon, and then quotes from the Opus Dei and the Knights of Columbus booklet.
I forgot about Opus Dei. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was.
I have a page of notes.
Yeah,
that's been through one of the chapters and pulled paragraphs out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a crazy week. At some point, my Sadie parameter goes from criticize to just start laughing. It was laughable. Someone pointed out, hey, look it. After the ice cube, he went and had some pantheistic prayer, and I was like, I don't care. I'm stuck on the ice cube. That's so funny.
I did not watch more than 5 minutes of the event. I mean, well, one, there felt to be no reason to, but I just mostly watched what Anthony Abate, the clips that he shares from it, like this flapping of the tarps scene where we'll bring about an end to climate change by beating our breasts while we flap a tarp around.
And someone was singing something like Laudato Si, you are my best friend. It was so corny. I'm sorry, it's impossible to take seriously some things. You just can't.
Yeah. I'm thinking, of course, I'm biased towards this because I write Catholic satire, that laughing at silliness is one of the, I don't want to say the best way, but it is one of the ways to just expose the ridiculous of it all. It's just I can't, writing a treatise on why blessing an ice cube is not the best priority would kind of be pointless. It would be pointless to write a treatise or that really serious of an article against it. And I wrote something on the Icecube Blessing, and I'm like, okay, this is it's clear as ice now that something is off to a lot more people. Like this flipped a switch for a lot of people who had been really, really hopeful all summer.
So do you want to give us a little introduction to yourself? Because I know Fern in chat doesn't know who you are.
Apologize. I'm just rambling. I'm just a random guy. I teach math. I just started doing that, but I'm interested in all this stuff. I am not a sedevacantist, but there is a crisis. I'm not sure.
A blogger.
Oh, you pulled me up. Yeah.
And the Ice Truckers.
Yeah, so that's my older things. I write Catholic satire. That's the thing that I'm probably better at, but I do write serious things too, or I attempt to do so.
The Ice Truckers is the one thing I'm subbed to.
Yeah, the Ice Truckers is fun. It started as a college thing, but it's now Catholic satire, and it's like, okay, well then there's so much to satirize now.
Yeah,
like I just take an event, push it 50% further. And but I also think it is a productive endeavor. Like, at least I hope so. I hope it's not just a uncharitable gossipy thing. And I don't know where the boundary is there, but I'm like, hey, some things, maybe the best way to make fun of them or the best way to achieve positive improvement is to laugh at them. But
thanks for dropping in, Fern. Yeah, I have to agree, because I think satire helps you to see things in a more... Since most people have a filter for everything that they don't like, it just automatically filtered out. Like, I was trying to explain this to someone, well, the hypothetical someone, to the people who like, why do you criticize and inflame people on podcasts? It's like, I don't hate these people, I filter them. What you're watching is me filtering out the things I like in their content, whether it's negative or positive. If I hated them, I wouldn't watch them. Like, I'm not going to sit down and watch on repeat Leo the 14th going on and saying some diabolical pantheistic prayer. I'm not going to watch that because I don't like that. But if I see him doing the Icecube, I will watch the Icecube. And it's the same with satire. Like, if you have the good, how many sets of rosaries are we on to now? Like 10 by now for the different decades? It's like,
yeah, well, I guess I don't know if there's someone officially keeping track, because right now they're not like officially promulgated anymore. Like, only like the only types of things. Okay, I'm not going to go that negative. I was going to say the only things that get officially promulgated right now are shutting down Latin Mass orders. Because sorry, my upcoming piece I'm going to do is, here's a punch card that bishops can sign up to. Like, if you close down 5, you get your sits.
Yeah, it's like a bingo Latin Mass card. Which is the next one coming to be shut down? Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was to say on the rosary question. So you came up last summer, and I asked you for permission. That was how I first contacted you, was to write on your idea and turn the America mysteries or the Independence mysteries.
Yes.
Sure. So I stole your idea with your permission. That's how I contacted you to write that article. I guess that hasn't happened yet. I think the reason is that's too nationalistic and too patriotic and not globalist enough.
Yeah.
For the people to be able to promulgate that. But then this guy really officially, well, I guess that's not officially. I think he's just a guy, but he's for a prominent publication. I can't remember the one who advertised the synodal mysteries. Like, it is a possibility that came out of the actual one of the synods itself, but like the synodal mysteries, the environmental mysteries, that's not, as far as I know, it's not an official real thing. That just came from a guy on Novus Ordo Watch, who came up with that. And I asked him if I could turn that into an article, because it's just like, okay, this looks like this is the ceremony where we're reflecting on. Oh, I'm gonna pull that up because I found it so funny. So, like, the first mystery is Gaia, our Mother Earth, but like, she remains mysterious in the Gaia, the life principle. That's why it's a mystery. And it's like, second environmental mystery, the carbon footprint. That's a mystery because the people who came to this conference to bless the Icecube together, like, they prefer that you don't know about their carbon footprint because it's all about yours and not theirs. Let's see, the third environmental mystery, the extinction of species. The fourth, the depletion of ice and that poor block of ice, and then the overpopulation and how we need to. There's the fifth one. I don't know. So it's just so funny because I think we're pretty close to someone actually turning that into a reality. I mean,
Yes.
someone's prayed that somewhere. Yeah.
Yes.
But sorry, I'm just having fun, laughing. You were saying?
But it's kind of true that the line between satire and reality is so diminished by now. And to me, as a sade, that's like obvious. But to a lot of people, it's not. And I think it's a better way to approach the topic, just if you're not going to take a side, to have a comedic or satirical point of view rather than to be like, no, I'm dogmatically in opposition to the Pope, but I do believe he's also the Pope at the same time. It's like saying that is so it gives so much cognitive dissonance, at least it does to me, to dogmatically say he is the Pope and I reject him. That if you're
Yeah.
going to be like on the fence, you might as well be charitable and just make it into satire, because then you can look and say, would the church actually agree with this, or is this too far? Because it's not always clear where the lines are. Like, I mean, is it really wrong for the Pope to bless ice? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. It's just
hilarious.
That's where so many things are. I was talking to another friend 2 hours ago who is Byzantine Catholic. So he's actually quite a bit. He's like just less worried about this because he has a kind of more. He has a different mindset that's a little more. I don't want to say anti-Vatican I, but he's a little less like he has less of a hyper-papalist view anyway. So his whole view was this is just like the Middle Ages when there were court jesters in the Vatican. Just like now the Pope's doing it for himself because they no longer have to. Yeah, so he's like, okay, this is just like how silly things have always happened. On the note of like cognitive dissonance, I did find interesting. I listened today. It's too hot here and I'm too lazy to run. So I just took a really, really long walk today. I was too tired. And I listened to Dr. K's interview on Matt Fradd. His view, how he explains recognize and resist is more, I can't even put him in exact words, but he's like, Father, it's like someone talking to their father who's like, not doing his job. And Dr. K is saying, we are the sons and daughters, we're the children who are saying, Dad, there's some problems going on down here. Really need you to look into them. Really need you to stop what you're doing. I think I can't say it in his voice, so it sounds really goofy me trying to say that. But I mean that's how I see it. I mean, I kind of have a little bit of that view, but then on the other hand, I'm also. Have you heard of another? He's a much bigger Substacker, Mark Bizone.
Isn't it the topic for tonight?
Yeah,
you had me read the article for him.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I read the whole article you sent me.
I also find myself actually agreeing, even though he was kind of writing that against me. His view, which is, okay, we need a warrior bishop to just go in and retake Vatican. Ultimately, it's kind of how I see it. And I'm like, I mean, we went through last time you had me talk my whole theory, which, I mean, it's not an epistemic worldview. It's not a full one, but I'm like, okay, there's something wrong. Something's crazily off. And we can all at least agree on the fact that there's lots of things infiltrating the church. The exact model for the crisis might differ. I actually think the more important practical one might be validity, but I'm ultimately at least moving in the direction. I don't know if I should say that with full confidence.
The direction of validity and jurisdiction is so interesting. Yeah. The two cases I have been looking at is the CMRI priest, Father Gregory Lefebvre, I think, who reading the manualists pretty much says the Pius XII grants all of us ordinary jurisdiction. And if strict reading of the canonical text is correct, that's not the position I hold to. I hold to everybody has direct jurisdiction based on certain loopholes in canon law. And there's no way to resolve this. There's literally no way to resolve this. Because Trent says you have to have canonical mission, and the texts make it seem like they would have it from Pius XII. And so it's like, I looked into this and I'm like, I agree. And I think there's good ways to argue this, but there's no way you can argue this and say, this is the point. This is why sedevacantism is correct, because we have jurisdiction from Pius XII. Like, that's a non-starter. You have to already accept sedevacantism for this to even matter.
And that's where I could go in a couple directions from here. One of them is my whole double Pascal's wager view, that like so many people are caught in this middle ground of feeling like they are condemning themselves no matter what they do, which is what this Mark Bazone in that article was saying. Ultimately, was in some way we have to fear God more than men and the serpent or the devil, and we have to, which actually lines up more with what I ultimately believe in the end, that
he has
there
the
is
line.
You can debate canon law forever, but ultimately charity matters more. Of course, that's vague. That's not really saying anything. That's not giving a solution. But charity matters more.
Charity matters more, but it's a lot harder to have charity when someone's blessing ice cubes with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I'm sorry. That 5-year-old could figure out that this was a bad idea. A 5-year-old could figure out, hey, if I blessed ice with SpongeBob SquarePants over here, that this would kind of give a weird affect. Like, irrelevant of any heresy. Irrelevant. This was just like goofy.
Yeah, and I'm saying, apologize, I should have clarified. I'm not saying merely charity towards the Pope. He is 1%, but like charity towards all believers and all souls who are in need of salvation, like, matters ultimately more than perfect application of canon law. If you look back to the Great Western Schism, there were at one point 3 parallel canon laws operating. They were all excommunicating each other. And I'm like, once again, the hermeneutic of continuity was built ex post facto, was built after later. Like, okay, that was a mess. We're in a mess. I think you agree.
Yeah.
Probably like that situation. And we don't know how it will all get untangled. I think this Mark Bazone in his article, of course, he had he wouldn't like claim the title sedevacantism as a like identity. For him, it was more of a, he would say, he just called it a sight or an observation in his article. But he saw that was situation. But his view is, okay, well, at some point someone has to be brave enough to take the I don't want to say
am
risk.
I lagging out or are you lagging out?
I know you were quiet for a while, but I was rambling.
Because I can't hear you right now. You're like coming out really.
You? What? You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm gonna pop on the Discord and reaffirm that we are live. We are live. Yeah. Better not have anyone downloading at let's say Rambo.
Did you have more to say about Icecube though? Because like there are all types of crazy puns people have made off of that though.
Don QX says, I doubt CDP likes to mess around. I actually really don't. I think it's really bothersome. I think it's stupid. I think the fact that all the traditionalists aren't sedevacantists is really stupid. That's what I actually think. I just don't say that very often.
Well, like in Tony, it's this Pascal's wager thing. I feel like, are we in rebellion? Are you in rebellion against your mother and the body of Christ? are you in rebellion against the body that you're supposed to be a part of?
Well, you can't be unless you're in the state of mortal sin. Or else unless you're in schism. Rebellion against the body you're a part of is schism.
Yes. That's why I really, really liked this. I liked the point of this Bizone. He said that the Catholic faithful are trained to look at all questioning of clerical authority as schism and rebellion. That's how these heretics bait the trap for all the kids they rape and then emotionally blackmail their parents in the aftermath. Don't divide the church. Unity. That's how they also disguise cartel trafficking and other progressive vanity projects as charity.
Yeah. There's a line from the 1990 Lefebvre at Icon speech where he says, I received a few weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, yet another phone call from Cardinal Audi. Well, Excellency, is there no way to arrange things, he says? I replied, you must change. You must come back to tradition. It's not a question of the liturgy. It's a question of faith. Because if they have a cartel, close quote, by the way, if you have a public presentation of harmony, even if there's no harmony, then all you're doing is hiding what's in plain sight. It's like in the Novus Ordo, when you have the very liberal priests who are clearly nothing they do is valid, because like they're literally changing the liturgy week to week, versus the Orthodox priests, if you will, who are following the rubrics. It's like, oh, we're in union with each other. It's like, how are you in union? You two aren't doing the same thing. One of you is playing baseball, the other is playing soccer. Can you hear me?
Which is how, what were you saying?
Because you're lagging for me, and I don't know why. I don't know who that is.
Should I turn camera off?
Yeah, maybe that would help.
See if that helps here. Yeah. That's why some things are so... Okay, I'm just go back to the humor side. Some things are so funny. Okay, well, there's also the whole Kupich story that happened last week. That's a whole other thing. But I could go back a couple weeks to the James Martin meeting, which is where everyone who was kind of a traditionalist started to breathe heavy. After there were hopeful potential things over the summer, after all of the Latin Our Fathers we chanted, the Angelus, the most had a...
Keep going.
And then the James Martin meeting happened, and this was like a oh well, and then everyone said for 2 days, well, maybe it was scheduled already, and he couldn't back out of the meeting, or like bad things would happen. And then you're all thinking, wait, is James Martin blackmailing the Pope? But then you find 2 days later they have a pride parade in the Vatican, and it's like, oh, I guess that was a normal... I mean, I guess James Martin was telling the truth about that meeting.
Yeah, it really made a lot of SSPXs look really bad. Like a lot of people didn't realize that posting "we're in full communion, we're in Rome, tradition is prevailing," following like then James Martin shows up and the LGBTs show up and the Iceberg shows up. They didn't realize.
I forgot about this. I forgot that happened first. Yes. Okay, yeah. It was funny because there was a triumphalism of, oh wow, Pope. I saw it because there was an unnamed person who had a amazing, beautiful story. Pope Leo invites SSPX to the Vatican. Full communion is being restored. It's being fixed. It's coming.
Yeah.
And then, well, I actually satirized that from a different perspective. I put that as the SSPX insurrection. Where it's like, this is January sits in the Vatican. Okay, I stole that was from Anthony Abade's idea, but this January sits in the Vatican. This is what is their bishop? Bishop. I already forgot. Of the two that are left, they took a picture. I edited a picture of their bishop parading a lectern from one of the cardinals around as if it was January 6th. Okay, but yeah, I forgot that about the timeline. Yeah, that really whiplash. Which, I'm continuing to ramble. Did you have a direction you wanted to take that?
No, I think the whiplash is important because I think that's the one of the big problems that people have with the SSPX is the SSPX strayed, I think, into a period of where they couldn't figure out where they were after Lefebvre left. And partially that's because of what we discussed previously with Lefebvre being going whichever way the wind was blowing. Lefebvre did that a lot. But that's why when reading the 1990 article, I really do think that's a better direction for all non-sedevacantist trads to take. I hold to tradition and the faith of all times, and that's the only thing that matters. Like whether there's a pope or not, I don't care. I don't have an opinion. I only have an opinion on the truth, because he has that line. Where is it? Certainly, the question of the liturgy and sacraments is important, but it is not the most important. The most important question is the question of faith. This question is unresolved in Rome. For us, it is resolved. We have the faith of all time, the faith of the Catechism of the Council of Trent, Catechism of St. Pius X, hence the faith of the Church and of all the church councils and of all the popes prior to Vatican II. And I think only Stephen Cox has really actually taken that, and Chris Jackson, who aren't Sedes, maybe Esquire as well, who have taken that mantle up to say, like, no, the deposit of faith is an exact set of principles and things, and we can analyze it and we can follow it, rather than go through this hailstorm of like I can't imagine the emotional turmoil of someone who thought we were so back. Some people, like Nick Cavazza said, we're so back, followed by the next week we're still back, but like that, you just don't pay attention to the fact that it's LGB in Rome. Like, just don't pay attention. That's your answer. Then what was the point of everything else? You threw it all away again.
Yeah, so that's okay, but that's what I was actually talking to my other friend about 2 hours ago, was St. Vincent of Lawrence from his commonatory. I forgot him, but his principle was just follow what has always been taught.
Yeah.
And this is why I feel sketched out to say this, but like hyper-papalism is a problem. It looked like the amazing thing to do in the 1870s. But as soon as the bureaucracy gets infiltrated, as soon as the church becomes a bureaucracy and then it gets infiltrated, like the idea of becoming a bureaucracy is actually, for me, the big part of the problem. But once that happens, no one knows how to walk on their own. I don't want to say on their own 2 feet. No one knows how to depend on God. Everyone only knows how to depend on a bureaucracy to save them. And that's where the whiplash comes in now, where they're like, oh wow, my favorite bureaucracy is back on top. Wow, we're getting close. It's gonna all be undone in a few days. Learn how to. Yeah, I'm not gonna make fun of him on that, because that other guy he seems to be coming back around. But
yeah, the issue is, though, then a lot of these people would have to stop doing content. I mean, that the logical progression is, if I don't have an opinion on the Pope because I'm just being a Catholic in the pew and I'm just going to my SSPX parish or my FSSB, is to not do anything publicly, because you don't have an opinion. So if someone asks you, you're not liable to answer. But when you're a public person and you have an opinion, you are liable to answer. That's in the scriptures in what, 1 Peter 3:15? And you have to answer for the hope you have in salvation. And your answer is, well, sometimes I follow him. It's like, what? How does Michael Matt, and he's one of the biggest defenders of all this. How does Michael Matt get away with recognizing the Pope publicly as the Pope and then recounting how this Pope has destroyed the Catholic Church? And he's been doing this for like what, since JP2? Like, I'm sorry, you threw your soul away for a newspaper.
Well, I think that is something like that. If you look at history, is kind of a plausible. I mean, look back to, well, okay, maybe are you saying the better thing is to be more indifferent, like what Chris and Stephen are taking?
Yeah, because if you recognize he's the Pope, it's a dogma of the faith. You have to follow him. Like, it's a dogma. They put it there.
Okay, you're referring to immediate jurisdiction, Vatican I?
No, I'm referring to Cantate Domino of Council Florence.
So Florence, is that after Constance?
Yeah, that's the one after Constance. We have a question in the chat. Do you know the Panteal wager? You have to be a Mormon or a Sede. Which one do you choose?
Is that Mike Panteal, who was on Anthony Abate recently?
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. Was he a former Mormon?
No. He was talking to a former Mormon. But for Panteal's wager, you're either a good Mormon or a good Sede. Which is it?
Wait, why is that a wager?
I don't know. He said, this is what he said. It was really stupid. He was trying to say something else, but
the Panteal wager. Well, are you saying what he should take?
No, you have to choose. You have to choose to touch grass and either be a Mormon or a Sede. I don't know why he says these things. He was just angry because it's an annoying question.
Yeah. Well, there are so many types of Sedevacantists now that I feel like there's. I'm partially referring to. I'll be a meta Sedevacantist. That Sedevacantism seat is itself vacant. It's like the proper seat of who is supposed to be the Pope of Sedevacantism. That's vacant. That's my way out. I wrote a satire on Sedevacantism. I think I actually asked you for ideas at one point for that one before I put it out, of like, here are the 15 different types that you could be. Or like, okay, the last Pope was the one that Napoleon imprisoned because Napoleon took the official power, or like Constantine destroyed the hierarchy, because that's when the church corrupted itself. You could also be the Pius the 11th. Or no, that would have been, no, it was Pius the 11th. Yeah, like Pius the 11th, and the Lateran Treaty was submitting to a Masonic Italian state. I mean, that's another. Did I actually non-denom?
We have a new category, non-denom Sede. They recognize and don't submit to all the Sede bishops.
What's that mean? No, that's separate from R&R Sede. So R&R Sede is an active resistance against the tuck line because of the Actually, I think there are Mormon Sedevacantists who think that the Mormon church went astray when they got rid of polygamy.
That's pretty bad. But upholding the natural law is the reason you left your church.
Yeah, but okay, what would a non-denom city? Because there are some of those types. I thought the Roman RCI was, or no, Cicada. Cicada was.
Syncretude, the greatest, more non-denom.
Because there's also non-denom. Okay, I'm sorry. This is mostly disconnected.
This one too. The other topic for Sedevacantists, the Anglican Vacantists, Anglican
set of Anglicans.
set of Anglicans. I don't know. It's insanity at this point. Like, if people can't figure out just how insane the world we live in, that the chair being empty is not insane. I don't know what to say. Like, every half of all the intelligent people I respect don't even think Trump was attempted to be assassinated. That's how insane the world is. I think that was clearly an assassination. And they're like, no, it wasn't. And then they just glued a piece of his ear on later, and it's just fine. You're like, okay, whatever. I just don't care anymore. I'm not going to have an opinion. Because, like, the levels of insanity is so deep.
Well, that's one of the things that I wrote about a couple weeks ago. It's like there's so much wild things right now. It's like you can't. Well, it's almost like things are being made purposefully, completely wild on purpose to throw people completely off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's so much. There was another word for it that you use. Maybe it's whiplash. Whiplash, probably. It's like the wildest things that then get completely forgotten the next day because there's something even wilder. There was the drone show at the Vatican with the giant Francis projection.
That was insanity. That's the thing. Okay, so in the warfare, right, on the people, in the kind of Bolshevik warfare, you just have a sequential thing going out, and it's always something new. It's always something new, and you get into this habit of always looking for something new, right? You get into this, like, do the same thing with podcasts I watch. There's a court case in Minnesota about a horrible, immoral person. Every time a clip comes out, I watch it, and I wait every week for another clip to come out. And then when there's not a clip, I look for a clip. Right? This is literally what's going on in the Vatican. This is TMZ Vatican. It's insanity. You're like, oh, this couple actually did get married and they're staying together. You're like, yeah, there's the SSPX. And then, oh, okay, we're back to normal adultery. Okay, who's doing what with who? It's just like it's like, I don't know what. It's like a perfectly planned out. This is why we talked about this last time as well. I think the Vatican is about 800 times smarter than every single trad podcaster. 800 times. And I think we have no idea that they're planned this whole thing out. They had a board meeting a month in advance, plan every single event out, and they're just screwing with us.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I think is actually happening in politics, and I don't know how deep you go on. I guess you were arguing against the master planning, and I think there is an element of chaos in the system, but there is a lot of super genius plans that then get maybe 90% executed, but there's always some chaos in the system. There's always something that throws people for curves. Like, no one has completely planned things out. But I think Trump is trying to do that same thing where he just takes these hard pivots every 2 days that are like so like wild and out there that it's like no one can stay focused. Like the H1B thing was this hard thing where like it changed every 6 hours what the new rule is going to be on that, and it's like, wow, no one knows what to think or even exactly what the rule is. Claudio is the Vatican using the CIA. It's funny because I feel like the Vatican would be a lot more powerful and less broke. Like, I feel like they are pretty smart, but they aren't that powerful. I don't know.
So Lefebvre says, because I wanted to go through just a few more Lefebvre quotes before I get to one of the big things I want to talk to you about. Yeah. We must not be under any illusions. Consequently, we are in the thick of a great fight. We are fighting a fight guaranteed by a whole line of popes. Hence, we should have no hesitation or fear. Hesitation such as, why should we be going on our own? After all, why not join Rome? Why not join the Pope? Yes, if Rome and the Pope were in line with tradition, they would be carrying on the work of all the popes of the 19th and the first half of the 20th century, of course. But they themselves admit that they have set out a new path. They themselves admit a new era began with Vatican II. And I like that, close quote. And I like that Stephen Cox is pretty much the first one who was like, we can't get rid of the sedes. We have to pretty much stay true to what Lefebvre says in this 90 speech. That we have to actually have a plan and go forward. Because what I'm actually seeing, contrary to what TLM Ryan said, which was that Lefebvre, we reviewed this on Monday if you didn't, or last Thursday if you didn't watch the show, please do not watch the show. He said that Lefebvre Leo was going to be a weak pope and Francis a strong pope. And I said, you're insane. Leo has shown himself to be an incredibly strong and powerful leader already. Just in a matter of 4 months, 5 months, he was in May 8th was his election. He has completely taken the whole world, made it present itself to him in a nice way, pet them and slap them and pet them and slap them. How many times now? 3? We don't have no idea. We're getting so much whiplash from this Leo guy. And he's just came out today with this Our Father in Latin. He looks great. But I mean, objectively, he looks like a pope. When he says it in Latin, he looks like a pope.
That's where, did we talk about how this idea might have started with you? I know I used it. It was such a good idea in my writing. The idea that Francis was also trolling people, just in a very, very different style. That he was purposefully doing things that he might not have even have believed just because of the amount of chaos they would cause.
Are you depressed or are you excited?
I don't know. I'm in such a...
You're in a headspin, right? Because this is your first time actually being an adult and looking at this for yourself instead of just through someone else's lens. You're actively writing right now.
Yeah, I mean, not for anybody, just on my own, but it's yeah.
I mean, you can write in complete sentences. That's a great improvement over half of us.
Yeah. Well, the thing that, do you mind if I try video again and see?
Sure. You sound a lot better on the without it though. As soon as you turned off video, it was perfect.
Okay, I'll leave it off. Leave it off then. The thing that again panics me is you can treat this as content, intellectual, and an intellectual thing. You can put it in that box, and then you realize, well, this is actually about everything. This stuff you write on actually matters, and it's just I've just started to realize that because I don't know. I could connect all this, so that would be a whole side tangent into my life story. I thought I had it all figured out, and I thought I was entering a monastery last fall, and then that all fell apart last summer. I mean, a year ago, and I'm like, okay, everything seems so simple and certain, and then I will say I've had so many doubts about everything on all types of levels, politically, who they appear to be on things. I was just seeing things in the church. I've had so many, and you of course you start looking at your own motives and your own doubts, and you think okay, have I actually ever done anything out of charity, or it's all selfish? I don't know. But the wildest thing you just start to realize is, okay, well, these questions actually matter. The funny part is I'm half treating them as complete jokes when I satirize them, but then on the other hand, I'm like, well, okay, this actually matters.
I know, that's why it's just terribly horrible. In the 1969 General Instruction of the Roman Missal, when it was explained to me in college by Dr. Paul Weber, that they institutionalized the lay minister to be able to alter the liturgy, I lost my mind for a few days. Wait, you mean the lay minister, in contradiction to the Council of, I think it's Trent, it's also in Sacrosanctum Concilium, can just change the liturgy on their own, the actual text of the liturgy, and that's fine. It's how does that work? And it made me believe at the time, this was 2008, going forwards until like, it became a Sede, what, in 2020 or something. Until then, like that, there was a potential chance that someone was committing an intentional mortal sin at every single liturgy. And so what am I supposed to do with that? I'm getting scruples out the wazoo. I can't think about that, to think that that person up there in the choir just committed a mortal sin by choosing a hymn over the texts because they altered the text of the Mass. And that's forbidden. Like, yeah, that's the point though. But you see, that's the whole thing. They get you in and you believe it, and then they gut punch you, and then you're like, why did you gut punch me? And they pat you on the head, and then they gut punch you again. That's the new church.
Lucy and the football.
Yes.
Well, that's what everything feels. That's what I'm feeling, that even more so on the political side. Like, I don't know what to think at all about Trump now. I was so excited that last December.
And then, James, how old are you?
25.
Yes, this is normal. Okay, keep going.
But the funny part is, well, about every month, there's like a week or so where I get super, super excited again about Trump and what's going to happen. Just 2 more weeks away. It's just like 2 more weeks to stop the spread of liberalism, and we're finally going to get them. Like 2 weeks ago, the National Guard in Portland, and it's like, we're going to get them. This is going to go down, and we're going to solve the crime problem. And I'm like, we're going to solve Antifa. And then, oh, it's been 2 weeks. Maybe I don't know. Maybe stuff has improved. Apparently Washington, D.C. has improved a lot since that happened. I don't know. That's so many steps away, but that's just trying to example the Lucy and the football, where you keep on feeling, okay, something's going to happen. But were saying,
until you understand that, though, like you said, Lucy and the football, nothing makes sense in the Novus Ordo Church. Is it actually a diabolical, satanic, evil cult that has entered the church and that is here 100% to murder your souls? Well, no, it's not. You can find real Catholics in the Novus Ordo. Now, they're few. You might find 1 in a parish. You might find 2. In my parish, I think we had 1. Literally 1 other person who believed in extra ecclesia nullis salus. 1. And it's like, 300 people. Like, I don't think the priest believed in it. I don't think I've met a Novus Ordo priest who believes in extra ecclesia nullis salus. So what's going on? Well, it's this game. So what do you do with the game? You have to first off identify it's a game and then not play it. Because if you play the game, they're going to hurt you. What happens when you get hurt? Like, if you've ever had to give someone younger than you life advice, one of the big things is like never overextend, never put yourself into a position where you can systemically lose any progress you've made. And that's why most trads have realized going to the Novus Ordo is a clear and present danger to my faith. Like a New Crusade, do you know him at all?
No. Who is he?
He's just another like 25-year-old, 24-year-old. He's Californian. He probably lives 5 hours away from me. Trad content creator. He mostly does politics, but like he says, I don't go to the Novus Ordo Mass because it almost destroyed my faith. How can the Mass of Christ destroy your faith? Like, this is literally impossible. So he's a material state of a contest, even though he believes Leo's the Pope. He will not go to the Novus Ordo Mass. You have to make that decision. Just you never ever go to the Novus Ordo Mass. Rob from Avoiding Babylon does the same thing. He's also material sating. Sorry, you are.
That's where I keep on trying to propose this model, which I don't know if I again don't think it's a complete model, but I'm just like, okay, I guess my model is probably more of that opinionist, undecided type of, okay, there's something wrong going on here. I will try to be a faithful of the church and of the faith and tradition that has been passed on. And I guess I'm actually not doing that well because I'm like too focused on the game, which is probably part of the problem. Yeah. But I also feel like if you're, I don't want to say it, if you're laughing at the silly parts of the game, maybe that is a good, if you can help others to start laughing too.
Well,
Like
yeah,
one of the things that
laughter
laughter is
allows you
contagious.
to be fluid.
Yeah, and laughter is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Like just started this fall as a teacher, and it's one of the big things that I want to say cracking down on. But like, if one person starts laughing, they've got to send him out of the room, because there's no way you can get serious work done. But I'm like, laughter, on the other hand, I think satirical laughter at the craziness is a good thing. If you realize, okay, there are games being played, there are infiltrators who are trying to whiplash you into despair, because I feel like the whiplash is trying to beat people down into despair, like what happened to Steve Skojek.
Mm-hmm. It also happened to Anthony Abate 8 years ago. Like, if you're vulnerable to this stuff, this is the worst thing in the world. Like, the cradle Catholics like myself who've been fighting traditionalism. There's a letter from my dad from 1984 asking his priest if he believes in extra ecclesial solace. 84. And they didn't all find state of a conscience until 2020. Like, he's been fighting a battle for 50 years in his own head as what is this Catholic religion thing? You're like, wait, you've been fighting a battle for it 50 out of the 72 years you've been alive? Like, yeah. Most people don't have that tenacity. Most people turn their brains off. It's the same thing with politics. It's actually like 1-to-1. It's really weird. Like, if there wasn't, I honestly believe this is like God in his mercy shows you that your political class hates you beyond belief. Like, it beggars the imagination to see how much hatred the political class has for us. And then the religious class seems to imitate it, as we will get to later on when we get a little later. We can start doing the pro-life numbers.
That was a topic conversation that it has become pro-life Inc. Is that what you're getting?
Oh yeah, we
and
gotta look at
I don't know what to say, because I didn't actually see her in person. It was like, I thought I had actually seen that person in person like 10 years ago, but I actually know it wasn't. It was someone else. The one who's been the center of that controversy.
Friend Lila?
That's what I presume you were referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, but can I make that transition? Or you were just saying that, and I think I want to close that off first. The real danger to your soul is, I think, if you are of this mindset, it's mostly despair. Like, it's either submitting to the evil things that are being kicked around, like the football that's being played around with in deep space, or it's despair. And I think the bigger problem for many people who are more scrupulous is, I probably think that most conscious, on average, are probably those who are a little more of the disposition to look into things, of the ones to be a little more concerned on average, which probably makes you a lot less likely to be of the way to Lucy times salute to Sella. Who is Sella?
Selah is the sister podcast that my friends run. And they're insane. They're literally insane. And sometimes I join them as a character. Yes, Phil.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also where I work out material sometimes in my head.
Yeah. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. That's the despair. The whiplash pushes people to despair. And you've got to find some way to get out of that.
Well, it pushes the emotionally reactive to despair. It doesn't push everyone. It pushes most people to indifference.
Well, is a form of indifference, and I don't want to say indifference, but I'm like, there is the type of indifference that is the message of St. Vincent of Lorraine and of many of the church fathers, which is just to Christ, to what has always been taught. Find your way, best way you can, through the mess.
Yeah,
through the mess of the present.
That's called Catholicism, right?
Yes, and that is opposed to that are both the hyper papalist, keep up with the current thing version of Catholicism, and also opposed to that is, on the other hand, as well, the utter despair.
There's a further one though. There's also the papal minimalist, who's like, yeah, but I don't have to believe it. Like, to me, that's just as bad as anything else. Like, oh, I don't have to believe it. It's not ex cathedra. He blessed the ice cube and prayed to pantheism. Yeah, but it wasn't official, so it doesn't matter. Like, then at that case, you're Orthodox.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is that when it's in a council.
Well, I do think that the Pope should matter a lot less to your practice of the faith.
Yeah.
But it is a problem when you have to be worried constantly that everything the Pope is saying is going to be making it harder to hold on to the faith. Like, that is a problem, but I think again that is a problem to fight, not one to despair over or do nothing about. It is the one first and foremost to laugh over. His laughter is contagious, but secondly, try to find a way to fix it, which is where I actually like Mark Bizzone's take that we need to find a way. You need to find a way to strike at the NGO networks that fund this thing.
Oh yeah. That's what we got to do next. But just
so
to
is that a transition? Is that a transition to what?
Yeah, we can transition. We can transition now. So reading. Where's this? I gotta drop the link.
Yeah.
Some more Catholic ink. So, did you have comments on the Lila Rose? This is by where the source for my following comments. But I wanted to ask you before, did you see the Latin Slavs talking about Lila Rose?
I don't know the source. I just know something. I think it was about Anthony.
Well, it was Majorian did the work.
So I can't remember where it came from, other than there was something being said.
So this is an example of what nonprofits are paid, and this is the category that Lila Rose's nonprofit fits in, and she's paid this category in this last year, which is $375,000.
Okay, well, what end on the category?
These are all nonprofits.
Are they at the upper end? Because 10 to 50 is a large range.
Yeah, their thing brought in about 14 mil.
Oh, because they're at the lower end. Okay.
Yeah, they're on the lower end of this, but that was still the number, right? It was 350,000. By the way, pro-life. So I found this was really interesting. If you want, Majorian's got all the numbers here. Like, this was their actual revenue. This was their compensation. Because of what has actually happened to the pro-life movement since, I think, 2012. My notes are correct. No, it's 2000. Yeah, it's about 2012. So the Knights of Columbus took over the Washington, D.C. March for Life with the death of their founder, President Nellie Gray, on August 13th, 2012. And in 2011, the annual budget for the March for Life was $314,000. In 2012, the character died. It was $662,000. In 2021, the budget was $3 million. With the comment, thanks to the $500,000 to $850,000 contribution from the Knights of Columbus. So, like, part of the thing that we talked about last time was how you said everything's become a commodity of big business.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need to figure out how to turn it into a much more expensive event. Because if it can be turned into a much more expensive event, no matter what way you do it, tons of other people benefit. Just like now you can, I don't know, I guess that's tautological, that's just obvious. But like, how can you make it more inefficient and require more paperwork and more managers and more CEOs?
Yeah. It's
in more board meetings?
It's insanity. So the article goes on to say, with its newly acquired control, I'm quoting right now, the Knights' leadership was ready to engineer a paradigm shift from the March for Life's foundation epithet of no exceptions, no compromise, to the deadly endorsements of consensus on the life and death issue of abortion. President Massini was fully cooperated in the media endeavor, and on September 22nd, 2016, March for Life Action launched its version of the national consensus media campaign funded by the Knights, quote, charity, unquote. And the ad commercial campaign played on prime cable and network television. And I remember this, and I was really confused when the word consensus came up. Because, like, Catholicism has never been... The consensus is an evil word in Catholicism. And the March for Life ran with this consensus. Here we have, again, another supposedly grassroots organization in Catholicism being completely taken over by this diabolical evil cabal. Like, well, hi, that's the Novus Ordo religion. There's something rotten here.
Well, that to me is just the heart of the managerial infiltration. It's the Catholic Inquisition of the whole thing, where it's just like what has happened to every business, where it's like, okay, gets sold to a private equity firm, which outsources whatever work is done to a lowest bidder, usually outsources it to a completely different country, then cheapens the product, adds in extra fees, tries to get people onto payment plans so that they are debt serfs to the institution, and also tries to get them, well, hooked on it, or I guess trying to turn the thing into a subscription, so that it's probably the best way to put it, to turn everything into a service that you subscribe to. So normie, well,
Turkey, why are you always talking, man?
Yeah, it is normie, but that's just one layer of the problem. Like, you could go to, you could blame it on banking system. You could blame it on Descartes. Like I blame in my math class, I blame everything on Descartes. Every moral issue. I'm sorry, that's all. I just trash talk Descartes and Cartesianism all the time, but everything's a multi-layered problem. But like within the church, the Catholic Inquisition of everything. That's actually a good bridge to, you wanted to talk about Opus Dei.
Well, this comes in because the Knights are an arm of the Opus Dei,
and much of the pro-life movement.
Yeah, so
has been taken over. I don't want to say, and I don't, but the theorist thing is they have achieved some things. Like, they got the judges in, who have returned Roe v. Wade. But I'm interested in what you're going to say. Okay, pro-life thing is dependent on the continuation of abortion. Yes, it's turned it into pro-life as a service.
Yeah. It's a continuing subscription that we got to pay. This is why part of the reason why I like Sedevacantism, and I wanted to play a clip from Ryan Grant, who essentially said at the end of the last rundown, I don't know, it's worth playing a clip because I don't have it, but he was like, the Sedes take the easy pill out. I'm like, what else are you going to do? I'm supposed to somehow fight a $3 million organization that's vampirically taken over an event that I've been to multiple times in my life? Where am I just going to have $3 million to start a new foundation, hire out a bunch of people, collect donations? It's like, no, there's a horrible, deep infiltration, and every single bit of it needs to be completely destroyed. If we continue on with the article, where's another one? Quick look at the IRS 990 forms filled out by the primary officer at the John Paul II Shrine. The Knights bought out the John Paul II Shrine from the Diocese of Detroit for $22.7 million. I don't know where they get that money. The Supreme Knights allocated the following millions for the shrine's maintenance and staff. From 2013, $9.8 million. 2014, $13 million. 2015, $14.5 million. 2018, $10.7 million. 2020, $10.2 million. 2021, $8.3 million. It's like, these people have millions upon millions of dollars to throw at their projects. Like, This sounds like a government conspiracy.
Well, you could argue that it was Gladio, and there was a Latin American Condor, were the two CIA projects that heavily involved themselves in church affairs, you could say, and tried to turn the church into a willing puppet. And it's funny because this taps against, I will call it normie, even though I think it is partially true. There was also the Marxist infiltration of the church. But the funny thing is, I actually think you can have multiple infiltrations happening at the same time, because people's loyalties can be split. Like they can actually be working for both. I don't know. I'm trying to this, but you can have a group that has a project and they're trying to enact their project on a country, their project of infiltration, and then there's another group that's infiltrating that, and they've bought off people too. And then the final product, the final result is some sort of mishmash of what the two organizations that were infiltrating both wanted. And you're like, okay, well, that's kind of seems to be what we have. Where we're both far more Marxist and far more like monopoly capitalists. Which maybe you could argue that monopoly capitalism is not really that much different from the end state of Marxism, as I have actually argued that, like, structurally, the USSR was pretty much by the middle of World War II the same thing as what Germany had set up. Like, basically, they had different names for things, but it was like a cooperation between, you could call big enterprises and the government, and with an insert population. And like, okay, they called it state-run enterprises versus the big business magnates of Germany. But I'm like, okay, it was the same thing. Similarly, you've had Marxist infiltration of the church, but you also have this huge corporatist thing. Like there's big hymnal. I actually wrote something today.
Yeah.
It was a little bit about, I mean, I didn't do the research for it, but I cited something Michael Hitchborn did about big hymnal and the hymnal industrial complex, and like what they've done, which is kind of hilarious, where it's music as a service. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sure.
Chats are always savage.
Yeah,
it's why live streams are the best. It's because chats are so savage and it's a lot of fun. If you have like 5 or 6 people just logging you while you do your show, it's the best part of live stream.
I didn't think I was walking into this, and so
it's just easier to do it live. Just do one take, do it live. But you are right, and that was actually the most mind-opening thing, as I said last time we talked. It is that whole commoditization of the music and of the liturgy. It's like we say as people who are traditionalists, like we got to take back the church, but to my mind, arguing that we're going to get the right person elected and we get the right people in the Senate and the House and the presidency and all the positions of government to take back our country is laughable. Like, haven't they been trying this since the 1960s with the new conservative movement from and even before that? It's like, I would say yes. And then you're like, yeah, but this time it's the most important election. We got to keep going. It's whiplash again. I've been told how many times now? 6 times in my life I can remember that this is the most important election. If they win, the gays win. The gays won. Did the world end? Leo's here and he's Francis 2.0. Did the church end? Like, this is why I think that either you're a Sadie or you go back to the Lefebvre 90s speech and just say, I focus on the truth. Everything that's not the truth, I ridicule. And we just go from there. Because you go through the infiltration, you go through the corruption, you go through this whiplash whole thing. And like the closing comment that I wanted to make on the Louie Verrechio part of the art essay is, quote, my low-end estimate would be $160 million range, not including special projects, blah, 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 for the Knights bailing out the Diocese of Detroit, as well as the JP2 shrine and all the money put into it. Thus far, the Knights John Paul II Institute on Family and Marriage has graduated 600 students. Using the above low calculations, that would put the cost of educating a single layman, priest, or deacon at the institute from the period of 1990 to 2022 at about $666,000 per graduate. Like, what? These numbers are insanity. Like, this whole thing is so bonkers to take it seriously as if it's a real thing that this is really the Catholic Church. We're graduating students at $250,000 at our Marriage and Family Institute in DC. It's like,
well, none of these things by themselves
indicate
that. What they do indicate is, again, I think corporatization, where it's like, okay, this anti-church has been built up within the church. And it's like, okay, well, also in a certain way, so that don't vote for Leo, vote harder. It was really funny. There was something hilarious that Anthony Abate quoted. There was someone who apparently thought, who like misspoke or mistyped and was like, things are going to stay like this for the next 4 years. This is something that Pope Leo had said. And it was like, wait, does this guy think we vote for the Pope? I just found that hilarious. I texted that to you, but
yeah, I remember that line on Twitter.
The maybe important distinction to make is, okay, well, against the Protestants, Christ set up something visible. That thing is not merely the visible institution, and I'm not in saying so advocating for the non-denom invisible association. Like, there has to be something visible involved, but there is pure identification. There's too much pure identification right now of the church with the guy or the girl who files the 990 forms, or files the paperwork, and like that is an accretion. That is an accretion to the spirit of the age. And there have been previous such infiltrations. I should not be so bold as to say that like this is the first time it's happened. It wasn't. There was the whole Middle Age. In the Middle Ages, the whole, I think they called it the pornocracy. But like when we had all of those families, and like the papacy bounced around between 4 different families for a while. Wow. But this is a different type of infiltration where it's basically big business has, I don't want to say bought off the church, because it's not like it's on the stock exchange. It's more like it has structures of making money have been built into the thing.
It's what Lefebvre said when he said the church has given itself over from the kingdom of Christ to the kingdom of men, that it focuses on the rights of man more than the rights of Christ. And within the kingdom of Christ, there are rights of men. So like, it's not that far out, but it's just the shift is in ontological orientation. So the subject of the thing has changed. Even though we're still believe 90% the same thing as the Novus Ordos, it's like that 10% must be so critical that it's actually defiled the entire being.
Yeah. But I don't think the whole thing has been defiled. Well, you can say so much of the visible structure has been bought off. But like the thing itself, and I think you would agree, remains. It's the parable of the wheat and the tares, or the wheat and the weeds. And just like, yeah, we have a really choked up field.
Yeah, but you can still find the visible church with Google. This is what I don't get, because a lot of people say the church's institution is visible, so I must be able to always see it. It's like, yeah, you have Google. You can type in Bishop Pevere in the CMRI and find him. Yeah, what's wrong? So I don't really like. I agree in the principle of the argument, but I think if you're looking in the wrong place and you see a field of weeds, field of tares, it's like, yeah, because you're looking at the wrong place, you haven't found the truth. It's not your fault, but you aren't looking at the right place. Augustine has a line where he compares the church to the sun being darkened and the moon shall not give her light. Just, he says, quote, the church will not be perceptible at that time, with the ungodly persecutors raging beyond measure, with all fear laid aside, unquote. So like, 6th century. Since the 6th century, an era where everything would be eclipsed. That's happened at least 3 different times now. In the 1000s, turn of that era, the entire Catholic world went to sin. People don't talk about it, but most bishops and priests were like completely not practicing the faith. It's like this is the Great Western Schism. The faith disappeared. The French Revolution, the faith was pretty much disappeared there too in all of France. They killed all the Norbertines. You know, this thing keeps on happening. This has to be the 6th or 7th time. Just this time, it's slightly different.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
I mean, that's where I think the big danger of despair comes from not seeing this has happened before. But if you do see that it's happened before, you can see, and yes, I do have a pretty choked up throat. But like, if you do have a mindset that is not of despair, like if this is where our trust, okay, does that also leads to inaction. Like there's so many things we're trying to balance at once. But if you avoid despairing, you can see. If you avoid despairing, you laugh at the weeds, you laugh at the tares, and you see the wheat that's there. And if you laugh at the tares, if you laugh at, it's like in The Wizard of Oz, if you laugh at the man behind the screen, he's a lot less powerful than he thinks. There's a lot of power of evil comes in them playing their psyops to look like they are quite a bit more powerful than they are. And actually, they get their power from your belief in it. So like if we believe that this whiplash effect is going to continue to keep working, it actually means that it probably will. On the other hand, if we believe that big money and big church is like completely dominant, that's actually where they get their dominance, is you thinking that you have to rely on them to be pro-life or rely on them in order to be Catholic, or thinking that you need big hymnal in order to be able to. But it's, I'm digressing again, where I feel like you had somewhere. Oh, yeah, that thing. That just came out of thin air, too.
Isn't it wonderful? See, here we have more Whiplash. And he's not even like a bad priest. Like, I've listened to Father Mike before. And it's like, sometimes he's normal. I think I listened to him review a movie, one of the Padre Pio movies. And it was a fine review. I didn't really care. Like, because sometimes I just, watch people's reactions. That's what a review show does. But then you're like, oh, what do I do with this? This priest is dancing. Is dancing okay? Well, Father John Cofaso doesn't think so. Father John Cofaso thought that having a perfectly natural, normal, moral interaction with women was to be avoided unless it was done between the hours of like work business hours. And he's like, yeah, that's it. You shouldn't even have the hint of inchastity. She came with a friend and visited you in the evening 2 weeks in a row. And then he was like, yeah, 3rd week, we're not doing this. She's like, why not? There's witnesses here. We're doing nothing wrong. And he's like, yeah, it's the slightest whiff of inchastity. And it's like, oh, some Catholics are really hardcore and others they're wishy-washy.
You're saying with that, you're pointing to the inconsistency? What? Because I think there always will be. That seems to be part of the wheat and the tares analogy, is that there is quite a bit of tangled up. Quite a bit of things are tangled up. Or that another way of saying that is part of in each of us, part of us is in the kingdom, part of our body and soul is in the kingdom, and part of it is just within the city of man.
Yes, for the priesthood, the whiff of inchastity is forbidden.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons
you were saying you're making a more general statement. Okay,
No, I'm not making a general statement. It's just, but it's a part of the symptom of the Novus Ordo, which like it inevitably comes. See, I personally believe God makes the Novus Ordo so stupid that he gets you to leave it. That's what I actually think. That's why there's trads inside the Novus Ordo who will not attend the Novus Ordo. How can you be a Novus Ordo Catholic and never, ever attend the Novus Ordo Mass? The New Crusade's that way. Rob's that way. Anthony Abate said he won't go to the Novus Ordo Mass either. He might go to their confession, but he tries with every single Sunday to never go to a Novus Ordo Mass. If he does, oh, sorry I did, but like, hello, there's something wrong here. It's like, I don't vote because I don't believe in the system, but I'm not required to believe in the system to live under the system. In the Novus Ordo religion, you're required to believe in the system to live under the system. But all these people don't believe under the system. They don't. Like, can we be honest for a second, James? To be like, if you believe attending the Novus Ordo Mass is damaging to your salvation, therefore you don't attend it, you attend the FSSB, the block over, that you are in material schism with the Novus Ordo religion, whose official religion, according to two popes, Benedict XVI and Francis, is the Novus Ordo religion.
I think there are still nuances in the model. The people would just quibble. They would quibble with how you set up the model, and they would say, like they would probably actually say something closer to what I do, that it is a tangled field or tangled, because that's kind of the position Dr. Kwasniewski uses. I just listened to his interview, and he was pressed pretty hard by Matt Fradd on exactly what Matt Fradd's going on his trad arc right now.
I tell you, everyone's going to become trad super hard. It's going to be great again. Like Abate was like, "Oh, the trad ink is done. Oh, I'm so sad." Remember that 2 weeks ago? What a jackass! What a freaking jackass Abato is. It's coming back, baby. Like, what's his problem? He has no faith. He has no faith in the trad movement. Come on.
What do you mean? I mean, well, just I see it though as a good thing when mass drops. It's like, okay, well, a lot more people are checking out of playing the game. Well, the issue is maybe they will keep playing the game. Like as soon as something nice gets said in 2 weeks, they'll go back. But I do think that a lot of people got very, very radicalized. And I don't know if I'm just listening to...
well, they got radicalized now, and let me just explain this, because Doug has a question. In Summorum Pontificum Article 1, it proclaims that there's two forms, the extraordinary form, which is the same right as the ordinary form. And in Traditionis Custodes, it says the ordinary form is the official right of the form. What that means is that the extraordinary form is saying the ordinary form just in an extraordinary way. That's what it says in Traditionis Custodes. So there's a poison in both of these that Francis and Benedict put in. And Benedict is the best one at this, by the way. And everybody underestimates just what a radical Benedict is, because he's so suave. He's unbelievably suave. He also set up the death penalty, by the way, but no one wants to talk about that. What happened is that they presented this dichotomy of, we'll give you the Latin Mass, but it's now tied to the Novus Ordo Mass, which says something different. At least that's the traditionalist critique. So by giving the traditionalists the Latin Mass, he actually attached them to the Novus Ordo Mass. And most traditionalists said, thank you, we don't care about this attachment. And they went on their way. Most of them didn't realize that that's what had actually happened. So that's why people like Peter Kwasniewski just simply rejects it. He doesn't believe the Pope can do that, but that's what they were attempting to do. What you giving me more DMs for? Let's see. What does this one say? I'm like super behind. Yeah. Oh yeah. I should put the other one up. So in full transparency, blah, blah, blah. The Abato. What does she think? We get a new papal election every 4 years? It's a great line. It's just objectively a great line. Oh, this one made me so happy. I love this one.
I haven't seen
I already liked it and I already commented.
I have not seen Star Trek, so I don't know the reference. But it does look pretty much the same. Yeah.
That's the best one. He looks at the rock as if it was a being. Oh, actually, this is where the boomers get mad and they whiplash, like the trad boomers, but like I can't even get mad. That was so funny.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't get mad because there was pantheism attached, but no, it was too funny. So
was there much of that? I didn't know to.
Yeah, I probably have to find WM review.
Yeah, you had another
WM review.
you
You
were
know
trying to-
WM review are trolls, but when they
troll.
post exactly what they mean. But when you talk to them, they're really trolly.
I don't know too much other than I've seen their site.
Yeah, they're one of the best, if not the best. I actually do like them more than Nova Soda Watch. Nova Soda Watch is a lot more too gossipy.
Yeah. Where were you headed? This things you were talking about despair, but you were trying to invent long-term transition towards talking about Opus Dei.
Well, I talked about the point of
Was that it, or go ahead?
I mean that is it. The actual Opus Dei thing is much more about nationalist politics and like things like Spain, attachment to the goings on of JP2, which I didn't bother to pull notes for, so I wouldn't have anything to read. But then, like otherwise, what it is, it's actually just like a government NGO, but an Opus Dei NGO that goes around and eats up things like a blob in plain sight, but no one notices.
And then turns them into the beige version of themselves.
Yeah.
It's like technically it's continuing on, but it's just been turned into how can we turn a quick fix into a perpetual slog?
Yeah. And that's why I really think the only answer to the Nova Soda is Sedevacantism. Because I don't see how, unless you get a Pope who's like Pius X and who just like who pretty much does what Sedevacants want to do, which is he repeals Vatican II. He recontinues Vatican I and issues more documents declaring all this liberalism, free money printing, globalist world initiatives, the nuclear holocaust, the genocidal wars. Unless he declares all of that anathema and just says you guys are all going to hell, like what are you going to do? The Pope just can't sit down and politely talk to the Opus Dei who are pulling in hundreds of millions of dollars and convince them to stop. Why would they? It's not realistic.
That's why. Okay, no, I could explain this as it being why, but this is part of why I'm holding. I don't want to say this indifferentist, but this more. It is a crisis, but we don't know the exact model for what is happening, except for we can all agree that like this is happening. This is really bad, and well, it all seems tied to all of our other current political issues of the day. Like there are so many layers to what's wrong. It's funny, you can go, and I keep on switching modes of like what is the biggest problem doing out the world today. And like usually I go down I'm of the Federal Reserve, and it's like if we just fix that. But then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, well, it's actually mass immigration. It's like what that is doing in countries. And then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, it is everything that has happened since the nuclear bomb, and it's like what that has done to reshape the way politics is supposed to function. And it's like, okay, it's the creation of the U.S. empire. But then on the other hand, all those things are just tied together, and they're just different heads of the same Hydra dragon.
That's
why it also has its hands in the church pot.
Yeah, that's why my advice to like people like Abate, yourself, even like Chris Jackson is to be like Stephen Cox. You point out the errors, and you might be gnostic or agnostic, right? Not knowing on whether sedevacantism, opinionism, sedeprivationism, which ism is the correct one. But what you don't do is you don't do what Abato did, where you say the war is over, we're going to have a little bit of detente with this pope, because when it turns out 5 months later that you were wrong on that, and then you, instead of eating what's the eating crow? I forget what the phrase is. Eating cold soup. I don't remember. But instead of accepting that you were wrong, he just simply lies. He simply publicly said, I said boomer Catholicism. I fact checked this last episode, first section.
Yeah.
He never said that phrase. For 4 months, he's never said that phrase. He
What do
just
you mean?
straight up lied about it.
He claimed he hadn't said it?
No, he claimed he had said it. I've never heard that term before in my life. Boomer is a term.
Because that's his
Yes.
explanation that he's using
Yes.
now for, Leo is just this.
Yeah. No, it's crow. It's eating crow.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But this is why, for me, so many of these things are tied together.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the things where I don't want it to sound like I'm hoping in a political solution, but I do have trajectories, like possible ones mapped out, and I want to do a larger article combining some of these. But I actually blame the last century on the American frontier closing. And a lot of what happened, and I guess not just the American, but the global frontier, is in a way colonialism spent up the pent-up energy and the destructive tenacity of organizations that you got spent on kind of productive things of like going out to like people who wanted to strike it rich a century and a half ago could invest in, okay, let's go conquer Australia type expeditions, or like let's go find the Northwest Passage, those types of things. And of course, there was lots of evil and destructiveness and all that in that. But having a frontier actually made that energy slightly productive. And again, I'm sorry, I'm so many tangents away, but this does connect to problems in the church. Like,
No,
okay,
I know where you're going. Yeah.
like, okay, once you no longer have a frontier, everything eats itself. Like those who want to get rich now have to find a way to put other people into debt slavery to them. And that's why technological innovation is all slowed, because it's far easier to just find a way to make a business that cannibalizes other. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of human cap. What's being done is instead of investing in human capital to grow the stock capital out, you consume the human capital and reap the reward. Well, that's what James Martin does in the Novus Ordo. He keeps on investing in eating the capital of the Catholic Church by using its brand, and all the while he's eating members up with his very strange perversions. So it's like, yeah, this guy has no intention of building a sustainable life cycle for his little movement. He's just there to eat. And as long as he's eating, it's going to keep on just turning out more and more self-destructive people.
Yeah. So that is actually why, so that was a preface to where I do hold out what I will call semi-political hope, at least hope in the sense of, okay, these systems can't eat themselves, that they have nothing, at a certain point, they'll have nothing left to consume. Yeah. It's like, there's no way that the banks can come up with any more. Okay, well, they're trying right now with crypto, but like anything that is even more fake and more self-destructive, like they've already tried every possible.
You know, I have $70,000 worth of crypto, right?
I did it. I'm just.
I do, but yeah, continue on.
That is just such a parody right now, where it's like every person is launching their own coin, and it's like, who are you expecting to trick? To a certain point, everyone will have one. It's like who's going to be tricked then? But that is to say, I believe that it's past a certain point. Everything is so self-destructive now that you kind of can't go any lower. And suddenly someone will have the cool idea of, oh, what if I just go? This is kind of one of the things that made me really, really like Trump at the beginning of this year was imperialism was the sort of, hey, we could reopen the frontier and we could just conquer Canada and that would be great. And then we'd have all this land and we could build it out. We could build things there and we could take Greenland. And it's like, okay, That's one way to reopen the frontier. Way one. Number two is what Elon Musk is kind of still trying to do. And of course, he has all of the sketchy affiliations and him in the devil costume and all that. But on a purely secular level, Sede coin, what are you no.
I'm looking for Father Navarro. Where you going? Yeah, it's the you are actually correct, and I do believe that this is going to be one of these things that we have no idea why this is the case. This is like Justinian the First has to come at some point because there's too much systemic problems in the empire, and at some point the empire will want to resolve itself to last another few hundred years. Someone was asking for this picture. Father Navarro decided to bless some ice.
He's the one who's old Catholic Augustinian or neo
Yeah,
old
he's
Catholic.
Old Roman. I forget whether he's Old Roman or Old Catholic, but they accept Vatican I. They were supposed to die out after Vatican. And after the 1950s, they pretty much reconciled and said, we're going to allow ourselves to die out. And then Vatican II happened, and then they decided not to. But they actually they have also 4 lines, and then one of them's the Thuk bishop who gave them. So as far as I know, he's a real priest, which is weird.
That's why I think things are kind of messy. That's why I'm being more ecumenical to Sedevacantists. I was super hardcore against in March until I was just struggling in debates because I was not willing to defend the things. Like I would open up, like I would actually raise issues, and then I'd be like, I don't like this, and then I'm like, okay, I can't actually defend that if I don't like that.
The answer is yes, Turkey fan. But yeah, don't debate Sedes. Never debate Sede. You will lose.
Especially if you agree with them on the fact that there is. Sorry,
you will lose no matter what you do. If they, because Sedes become Sedes because they have autism, so they sit there and read quotes from Novus Ordo Watch, most of them, and Novus Ordo Watch just posts sources. So eventually, you will get to the point where Rob is, where he's like, "I hate Sedes, and I'm a Sedevacantist against the Novus Ordo at the same exact time while being in it." Like you get to a delusional place, and Sedes will pounce on you because Sedes are all vicious. Because Sedes do street apologetics, where they want the source, and if you don't know like your source better than them, they will just eat you.
Yeah.
They also think that you're going to hell if you're in the Novus Ordo, so they believe they have a moral obligation to convert you. Which is why they're so funny. Do not talk to Sedes. Avoid them.
But yeah, but I'm feeling like for your reference to Navarro. Like, okay, so I feel like there are issues. There are all types of issues. I still have issues if Sedes are in a way, but I'm like I have issues in the sense of okay, there are a lot of things that are probably not done in charity. And like I make fun of Vatican Catholic a lot. I actually just sent you a link of someone who shared how pretty much the Vatican made the next Vatican Catholic video for them. Like if the same music, the same type of editing and all that. But sorry, that is to say, I'm going on so many side tangents because it's all so funny. But I am more ecumenical towards a lot of potential different solutions to the crisis than are done in charity.
Different religious traditions.
Yeah. The issue is that Sedes need to know you're serious about the faith. And most people just flip off Sedes. The Sedes are used to being flipped off. So Sedes believe they have to give you an elevator pitch. Because, like, when someone introduced Sedevacantism to me, we were cleaning, I think, cabin number 2. And he was up there and he's like, no, you're wrong. Church is indefectible. You're an idiot. And I'm like, no, Nick can defect in this, and this. He's like, no, it's not gone. I was like, it can't? Okay, now I've got to fight you for this for the next hour. And then afterwards, I went home and read a few books for a month. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a Sede. You're right. I'm wrong. Most people don't have that tenacity or the retardation. Which one is it? Like, I don't know. I think Sedes are autistic. But I think autism is a virtue right now.
That the government is trying to destroy, apparently, according to all the memes.
Yeah. They're trying to destroy our autism.
Yeah.
So you sent me big Chris Jackson saying, "Is Lewis aware that Trump doesn't appoint U.S. bishops, unlike Communist China, who is allowed to do so by Francis and Leo?"
This is Mike
I
Lewis.
I do want to say that the political side is probably going to come to play in a way we don't understand, and that's why everything is like. I agree. I agree. There's a lot more charity that needs to be had, but it's more fun to fight people.
Yeah, but on the political side, the third option, second option, first option was like the empire just grows, and then that's where the bureaucracy gets put to productive work.
Yeah.
It's like that. I don't think the bureaucracy can never really be fully destroyed. It's like a tumor. Tumorous cancer is just kind of there. But you can put it to more productive work for a while and keep the empire going, and then you can kind of have a more functional society where some of the perversions get just like drained out of the system because they're not profitable if you have a functioning empire. But like right now we're in such a late stage empire that like it's more profitable to fund perversions. Okay, so that's option one for getting out of it is empire. It's like empire by taking over land. It's funny to call it a solution to the crisis, but you can call that Canada with my friends if there's such a failed.
Yeah, okay.
That's solution one. Solution two is, okay, you reopen the frontier. So that was the first option, was reopen the frontier via already existing land. Option two is you reopen the frontier, but out in space. And like, I hope that comes true. It's been my dream since I was like
there is another option though, and that is in the next 20 years, when 20% of the population dies off naturally, there'll be a huge cleanup in society where entire buildings will have to be like torn down because no one lives in them anymore or has for 20 years. So like, there's a lot. The world is in a changing process, and it groans and labors. So like, I really need to shut up because I was really happy. I thought Francis was the last anti-pope. I thought he was going to last longer too. But like, who knows in 10 years if Leo's dead, the cities elect a pope, Rome's dissolve the Lateran Treaty so the Italian state can use it as a asset to pay off their national debt. Like, there is so much insanity that can happen.
At the current pace of change, especially after this year, where it's like we had that, remember the 12-day war?
Yeah.
It was like we've already forgotten about that. We're a couple wars later.
Yeah. How many ceasefires have we had in Gaza lately? I don't even pay attention anymore because it's so violent to my mind. Being a libertarian in an ANCAP, every time it comes up, I feel so much hatred for the government. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, now we have another ceasefire coming. Are we going to have a ceasefire for real this time?" And then some retard with a bomb on their back is going to go kill somebody. And a week from now, it's like, yeah, that's all that's going to happen. And then Charlie Kirk dies. Then we have to talk about that for 2 months. It's like, I have no idea how anyone thinks they can predict anything that goes on in the world. Like, literally, if you have an opinion, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's where I also go to option. So I guess there's that option, which is just like anything can happen, and there are all types of ways we haven't thought about. But the other one, number 4, that I've thought of, and this is quite a bit more out there, but I actually wrote an article on this, is that technological change might favor decentralization again. Like, we're at one of these pivot points where either everything locks down to a Palantir controlled, just like China is like right now, cameras everywhere, social credit store, live in the pod, WEF, Klaus Schwab, eat the budge, hyper centralized. Or if they don't lock down now, technology actually now is pushing towards decentralization, which we've been seeing throughout the last year and a half with the power advantages in favor of small groups with drones being able to take out large military assets. Where it's like, okay, that is the type of situation that sends you back from the hyper centralized last century. And it's like, okay, we might not have. I'm hedging my bets so much. That you are right.
Yes, that's 100% correct.
But
it will be good or bad, and at the same time, when we hit
in the same
20%
respect.
inflation, when we hit 20% inflation next year, it's going to be horrible. My Bitcoin is going to go up 20%, so I don't care. Like when I own $300,000 worth of Bitcoin at the end of next year, it's like I don't care.
But when you're when you're
except when I have to pay taxes on it.
So you live in California. That's your problem. I'm sorry.
No, only when I think it's only when I sell it, unless I make moves with it, which I'm not doing.
Yeah.
To the say who's watching us, yes.
Yeah, but the rest of this option that I'm reading of is okay. If technology favors decentralization, and there's actually another bit of technology that I wrote about that is really, really interesting from a energy generating standpoint, that extremely, extremely favors decentralization to the point where you could actually imagine society for a lot of people turning into random bands of nomads again with the way this power source works. That would be a completely different world. That just has to be localized. And in my case, a decentralized world is not one that you can run a massive Catholic Inc. operation on if there are more than 192 countries. If there's like 10,000 that are all hyper-local. Nicole Carbonar, I think I know who you're...
Yeah. Cavazos. On the Sailcast, we review Cavazos 4 times a week. At least. It's pure insanity. And he is like crashing out so hard in the last 2 weeks. It's unwatchable.
You see, he hit the whiplash.
Yes. He's a horrible
That's why
case
he's so sad looking when I see him at Mass.
Have you given him a salsa jar? Can you go give him a jar of paste picante? I'll reimburse you. Like just give it to him and say a friend wanted you to have this.
No, I don't know. I don't want to run it with him because I've talked to him once. He was kind of awkward. I have a bunch of mutual friends though. It's really funny that one of his close friends, I'm actually going to go visit Clear Creek again with one of his close friends in a month and a half, and it's just that's funny. I don't want to completely crash out because if I crash out with him, it'll ruin relationship with his close friends that I kind of work with right now.
Yeah.
But what if I pass it along through? Okay, I'm going to be spending a couple days with his friends. We will get chips and salsa, and I'll just hand the leftovers with him. And be like, you should give this to,
But it has to be paste picante because otherwise it's not the joke. That's what my name is based off of, picante being paste picante.
Well, charity above.
There is a certain amount of charity, but there's also a certain amount of goofing around that people have to have because if you take this so seriously, like we used to in the Nova Sordo, you just sit there and wonder, how is this possible? And if you don't like a hardcore cradle that it's your ethnic identity, which it is for me, that you're a Catholic, and so you can never leave it no matter what, it's so hard to stay faithful.
Well, that's what the whiplash is trying to do to you, is trying to burn it out of you so that the rebellious treads are.
Yeah, and that's why, though, you have to go with the anti-fragile mindset. That's what the faith has to be. That's why I agree with Lefebvre in 90, the WM Review article, says that you pretty much have to cling to what you know has always been true, and then everything else doesn't matter. And so, like, just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Just don't pontificate about it. You can comment on it, be satirical, but don't be like, I told you this Pope was going to be. It's like, you put yourself out there. Because, like, if I said to you, the American Empire is about to die, I'll give you $100 million, it's about to die, I probably would be wrong. But you can very well see why it would die.
Yeah. Go.
So no matter what you say, it will make sense. That's the problem. That's why the state of Catholicism, where it's like, I don't live in that mental world. I live in the world of tradition. I live in the world that I'm an atheist to Leo. I'm an atheist to Trump. I'm an atheist to the world empire. I'm an atheist to the Fed, even if I have to use it. Right? That you have to have the different mindset, or else you get sucked up in it. And I think that that's one of the great things I learned from studying St. Francis of Assisi, with the complete detachment for worldly pleasure. And even Timothy Flanders talked about that recently, which I thought was funny. It's that whether I have the pleasure or not, whether I have the humanly comfort or not, it's irrelevant. I just cope. Oh, God wanted me to feel uncomfortable today. God wanted me not to go to mass today. God wanted this, and I just cope because I'm in the mindset of I can't change this church by letting it affect me mentally, emotionally, like even with the Charlie Kirk thing. I saw so many Catholics crashing out hard on so many trads. You're giving yourself the vulnerability to whiplash. You're making your own problems worse. You're making the tears appear in yourself. I mean, if you've got nerves of steel, good. Go ahead and handle it. If you don't have nerves of steel, guess what? You've set yourself up to fail. And like, no amount of charity is going to help you if you've set yourself up to fail. That's a great line, by the way.
Yeah, because you're not actually giving charity towards God or towards yourself. You're trustable because you're trusting in yourself. You're not actually being truly charitable to yourself or to God, because you are trusting in your own merits and your own ability to I don't know, but I'm also so torn, because on the other hand, it sounds like you do have to do something. I feel like
yeah, you have to pray every single day.
Different people to different actions. You know, it calls some people to be to the eremtic, like others to be the I'm trying to think the best example, but like to be the Catherine of Siena's in there. Age of
to be public martyrs and die, but it doesn't seem like that's the issue right now. Everything's all the good people are underground. I don't care if you're trad, Sede, or in Novus Ordo. All the good people are underground. Like Strickland got kicked out. I don't think Strickland's even a bishop. He still got kicked out. Kazakhstan boy, Bishop Schneider. He's not an ordinary. They don't give him a parish. He's probably make a great ordinary. Like, what's going on here? Why don't all these people? The only one who's an ordinary who's any good might be Corleone in San Francisco, and they put him in the armpit of California to screw with him. Like, no, if you stand up for anything, they will make you hide. So it's like, whether you want to or not, the church is in the catacombs. Be trad, rad trad, or state of a contest, church is in the catacombs. That's just the fact of the matter.
It's actually kind of ironic, because it's like the Roman Empire's back, and Kupich is the head of the Roman. I'm sorry, not
the high. He's the high priest of.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so.
You shouldn't be, but
it's not the best example. But I'm sorry, I'm going back into the satire, because it's like that actually is one of the ways to respond. And I want to say, like, not there is this dichotomy of to keep on referring to okay, laugh at this, but also like laugh at this. You don't take it too seriously in the wrong way to trust in your measures. But on the other hand, laugh a lot at the absurdities of it, so you don't go crazy when you see the hard facts.
Yeah.
Reality, because that might be the best model here. That is like saying that the church is in the catacombs. I like that model.
Yeah,
works. It's like, okay, the church is still there, but in a certain way, the tares within the church are attacking itself. It's like an infection. Yeah, it is an infection within, which is making the body attack itself. What is that about St. Catherine? I should not think of. Okay, that is a joke. That's a joke I used on my satire site like 5 years ago when I first did it, when it was mostly college focused. So I only did a few Catholic jokes back then, but one of them was, it was like the guy seeks permission from his priests in order to pray to a female saint without a chaperone. It's like someone felt, is it okay to be able to pray to a saint? Sorry. Okay. The model of being in the catacombs.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, I think it's Ligori who says, those who pray are saved and those who do not pray are not saved. Like, that's actually the internal motto I have for my life currently is that. That's it. I don't think about anything other than, did I get my daily rosary in and a few other prayers. Like, and I don't always do it, by the way. I have lately been very, very successful with like a 90. I don't calculate always, but like I'm a 95 to 98% accurate in my prayer life. Because if you're not, and then you're a trad and you're online, what are you doing? I don't know. I accuse myself by my own life. So I'm not going to say you, but
well,
like,
if
that's
you don't, you either crash out.
Well,
you crash out. Well, you crash out if you don't, which is.
I don't show my public crash out. I crash out infrequently, like every other week. But like, I'll sit there and play a video game, a StarCraft map, and I'll mine the whole thing out, and it'll take me 3 hours while listening to podcasts until 2 a.m. That's my form of crashing out. So I'm so like mentally upset with myself for doing it that I just go to bed. It's almost been 2 hours, so we should probably wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So in summary, we both agree that we're cooked.
Like, until we aren't. We're both cooked and not cooked at the same time and in the same respect.
Yeah, so you are until you aren't. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the reductio proofs I'm doing in my geometry class. We're like, okay, we proved two things to be true at the same time, which means that one of our premises was off, which means we need to go back to what we have always known to be true. We go back to our common notions. Wait, is it ever seeing that she was suspect of heresy? Highly emotional, causing irrationality?
I don't know. I've read some of her life story. She's kind of a nut. But most saints are. So I never find problematic when someone's like, why would St. Francis of Assisi eat pine cones because he's hungry and he's been fasting? You're like, hey, St. Francis of Assisi. I don't care. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. But, yeah. So that's... What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. Maybe it's an apple or it's a target with an arrow.
Egg being cooked?
Or, yeah, it could be a thermometer. Oh, I have no idea. It doesn't appear right because my version of Windows is old. But no, man, it's one of these things that like the bigger podcasters, I go after them and I'm merciless and mean to them, mostly because I don't want to be charitable to them because I don't think they're honest about things. Like, I don't think Abato has an honest bone in his body. I think he's funny. I think he's charismatic. I think he's entertaining. But I don't think he has an honest bone in his body. But like when you get to smaller content creators and you can have smaller conversations, I have no problem being charitable with people. A lot of people online don't like seem to realize that that's how normal human beings interact. We're really all on the same team, but we disagree as to what's going on. Because the Sadists are like, I got to give my money to Bishop Sanborn and Bishop Hivarunas to build the church. Then I have to go literally buy a church. And that's my life's mission. And other people want more out of life.
What do you think? I think I should close with this. What do you think I should be doing? Because like I've been just randomly writing over whatever seems to be most important this week without even each week for about the last year without even really knowing why I'm doing it, and I've strayed more and more and more and more into covering church things. They have more of a political twinge to them.
Well, church politics is 1,000 times better than the secular ones, isn't it?
Yeah, it's even more hilarious. It's easier to satirize.
Well, I think if you keep an open mind and you keep continuing where you're going, you will become a Sede. In some form. And I'm not saying like my form, but just because you're going to say whatever that evil is, I agree with Lefebvre. The 1990. Do you have the article? I haven't even showed it.
Do you know deuterocomical?
Yes, I do. It's really
it's funny.
terrible.
I'm in his discussion server.
Yeah.
It's funny. They're joking about making a Holly market. Sorry, never mind.
A Holly market? What?
Making a Holly market poll. I shared with them the article that Mark Pizzone wrote, talking about how I'm complaining about my position and how I'm not. And they were like, "Hey, still, you're cut for being put in the same sentence as Chris Jackson." I'm sorry, but
The problem that Deuterocomical has is he does whataboutisms, which is like a sign he's actually never thought through the issues.
there's a lot of super Pope splainers there. I don't know. They have made me want to check. Pachamama was real, right? Because that's my key refrain I've been arguing with them this week on.
So there's certain technicalities with Pachamama. First off, Spanish does not have a god honorific. Pope Respector said the name of the Pachamama was La Madre del Deus de Amazonia, right? The Mother of God of the Amazon, or something like this, right? There's no term that they would have for the goddess, or the like. They have no differentiating terms. So, like when they talk about God, they say El Señor, right? So he used the title and he translated it literally without understanding the cultural context. And the literal interpretation of the Pachamama is just Lady of the Amazon,
which people try to take to mean to think it was a Marian thing.
Yes, because like we had the Madre de the Carne was the Lady of the Pig. I forget what. I remember growing up, we had a statue of a pig and a statue of the Blessed Virgin, and my mother would walk by this and laugh and say, "There's the Lady of the Pig." And I could never figure out why that was funny, but I have it. There's just this random cherished memory in my life that we have the Madonna of the Pig. I've never heard this anywhere else in my entire life. There's a Madonna of the Pig stuck in my brain forever.
Yeah.
So like it's one of these technicalities that like if you don't know everything and how to argue it, Pope Splinter literalized everything, and therefore it was okay. But you got to look past it. You got to look past literalizations, because if you look at the Novus Ordo Mass,
that's where satire shows you like, okay, just look at all these things together. Look at the big picture.
Okay, Trisha, Kohana is not that interested in me. It's all a big joke, by the way. Okay. The Kohana CDP arc is going to end pretty soon, I think. Okay. But I'm sorry, I was bothering you.
Sorry, I'm trying to close out. Sorry, I'm keeping.
Well, I can talk forever. You're the one it's already 11 at night.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. If you like, maybe this is something only I can figure out, whether this thing that I'm going on is self-destructive, because I need to make sure that it's not, that my thinking too much about it. But I like that I'm balancing it out with satire.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing I am falling short on in my new job is my
well, maybe you should become an expert at one part of the entire discussion. So, like, I was an expert at the Novus Ordo Mass. That's why I'm a Sede. I used to do liturgy. Like, I was a music minister in college. I took some classes on the ministry. Yeah. So then, like, as soon as I could break the Novus Ordo Mass, I could kind of crack it open. Then it was like everything else could fall into place. If you don't have, like, a particular thing, like, say, end times, and then you've read the Novus Ordo or Novus Ordo Watch article by St. Augustine on the church will not appear during the tribulation, which is the title. The tribulation. If you don't know that article, and you don't know the comments by Father Lefebvre, I think it is, also with the Book of Destiny, which is his book on the end times, written at the end of the 1800s. Like, if you don't know a lot of these sources and these texts, a lot of what we're doing right now won't make any sense. It just looks like liberalism is very rampant. It's happened before. So it's like, yeah, you got to study one part of this and know it, and then sedevacantism will just be the obvious, or, again, the position I've been advocating to you. The Lefebvrist 1990 position, where I'm just faithful to what is true. I don't know whether he's the Pope or not. I'm just faithful to what is true.
What is the Catholic compass that Tans is suggesting?
I don't know.
Catholic Compass. That sounds good.
Oh,
I want to do that as an article,
yeah, that
but I
sounds
have to
good. Yeah,
figure out
you
what the
put the 4
correct piece should
squares.
be. That's what I'm trying to think if it would be like traditional, not traditional, authority versus not authority. So I could put the like non-denom studies way on the like anarchic right, and then we have like
Yeah.
the anarchic left where you have like that Kansas City schismatic group that's like ordaining women. I don't know if you've heard
Oh,
of that. Yeah.
I don't see this way. I don't look for this stuff. I try not to find it because I just like what these guys are insane.
Yeah. Do you want okay? Do you want to close out? Can I share my screen of something really, really funny?
Sure.
So Grok, I asked it to project out where is all this headed? Like, where's the next phase of synodality? Because there was something I think you might have shared to me, which is like these are the stages of synodality that, and these are like the 15 different conferences you can go to. And like that was really hilarious. So I was like, okay, where's this all going? What's going to happen next? What is the job? And like someone had commented on my piece, so I put into Grok, what's going to happen after the synod on synodality? Can you share? Can I share?
Yeah, press the plus button. Yeah, we're closing up well pretty soon here.
Can I share Koinovat's flare?
Are you private chatting it or
I shared screen.
Okay, it's screen.
Just going to take a look at this. This is what Grok came up with, projecting forward what comes after synodality. So the church experienced a seismic shift with Koinovat's flare, a radical evolution of synodality that ignited a spirit-driven, inclusive, and prophetic movement. So basically, Teilhardianism, but the church, the building on the synod. This is a way to put everything together, ecological and social justice, into the flare of faith. So this is the Synapsis Now platforms launched by the Vatican. This is satire by Rock. I'm going to write an article stealing this idea. But how the church starts holding flare festivals. Some label the movement heretical. Some label the movement heretical. But if we have some Latin in our flare festival, it'll be okay. Okay, but Koinovat's flare is reshaped.
Zoroastrianism.
Zoroastrianism that establishes the global Koinovats Council, granting lay and clerical representatives equal voting power. The creation mass was instituted. Well, I guess that actually happened. I asked this a week and a half ago, and it's funny because then this thing happened just like a few days later. It was like, okay, well, we had the creation liturgy. I just not a mass, but like the ice black mass. And then the vote spiritus changes into a church in the margins. And then it goes further. Oh, Pope Paul VII in Koinovat's flare, his spirit calls us to a church ablaze to the voices of all. Let us not fear the holiest eruption, for it is the breath of God shaping a new Pentecost in our time. The flare festival in Chiapas. I cannot deny. And then beyond that, we go even further to the Cosmocars eruption. The voice of ecosystems and animals engages interfaith partners and decentralizes authority into fluid chorus notes. Liturgies embrace eco-mystical worship of new sacraments like the rite of creation, healing. And then the Cosmocars modes blend quantum theology and indigenous cosmologies with eco-communes.
Quantum theology.
A year of cosmic grace. So can't you wait for the year of cosmic grace?
Should we end it on the year of cosmic grace?
What did you say?
Should we end it on the year of cosmic grace and quantum theology?
It goes further, but like that's some hilarious satire. Like, okay, that was AI. I'm gonna do better than that, but that was what AI projected. The funny part is we're basically already there this fall for the last couple days. Like that was a week ago. So keep laughing and praying.
Keep laughing and praying.
And then this warrior bishop will help us sort it out. Once we end the Fed. Once we end the Fed, but keep the global empire going without the Fed.
Yes! Yes!
Quantum theology will save us in Latin. Okay. End the Fed.
And the
pray,
Fed. And the
and the
Fed.
Fed, pray, and keep laughing.